Welcome to the Women Leaders Association Daily Member Podcast, where we believe we go further, faster, and have more fun when we go together. I'm your host, Julianne Kirkland. And in each Daily Member Podcast, we will pick out a great speaker from one of our meetings that we thought you would enjoy. You can access hundreds of recent speakers, book summaries, great articles, and more at no additional charge through your membership portal. If you would like to get involved in a Women Leaders Association mastermind group or find a networking group near you, or if you just need access to the membership portal, simply go to womenleaderspodcast.com to be connected. Now let's tune in for this incredible message.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you again for having me. I'm so excited to be part of this wonderful summit and, be able to connect with women and support each other. My name is Denisse Olivas. I'm a marketing and management lecturer at the University of Texas at El Paso. This is my 10th year teaching university courses, and I've taught over 2,000 students, marketing and management and entrepreneurship courses. And I've been very blessed to also have been the director of the Center for Hispanic Entrepreneurship at the University of Texas at El Paso as well. And also for 10 years and helping hundreds of businesses to create, better opportunities for themselves in the marketing realm. And now I'm a business owner, and I have my own agency, which is called 11D Marketing. And we focus on marketing wellness. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold. Wellness, healing, education, and technology. So I'm so happy to be here sharing with you these strategies, and hopefully you will find some of these items that I'll be covering. You'll find them very helpful for yourself. And I know that Andrea's presentation was great, and hopefully you'll see a little bit of a connection with what she talked about.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I have your slideshow up and ready, and the floor is all yours.
Wonderful. Thank you. So today we're going to be talking about your power, your voice. And I'm going to be focusing on the 5 pillars of building an authentic personal brand. And I hope that you can find the strategies I will put forth here helpful, and you can utilize them in your own life, in your lives, whether personal or professional. So next slide, please. So this is really important because having your own voice and exercising that power is so important for women nowadays. And I have Louise Hay listed here because she is a pioneer when it comes to affirmations and enabling women and teaching women how to be powerful in their lives. So she says that when you listen to your own voice, it will always steer you through life in the best way possible for you. So what she means by this is that we have to listen to who we really are and listen to our intuition, and share those gifts with the world, so that you can be steered in the best way possible for you. And I truly believe that if you are listening to this presentation and you're here with us today, or maybe you're watching the presentation later on, that you're meant to connect to these messages and to these ideas, and help you enhance your own visibility, become more marketable, and create a personal brand. Whether you have it at home or at work, it doesn't matter. But for people to get to know who you are and what you are about. And I truly believe that it starts with voicing our opinions and having those affirmations. So next slide, please. So what I'd like to cover today are some key points, and again, hone in on what's important when it comes to exercising your power and your voice. And it's interesting that today, when I'm presenting this this information. I have a really bad cold, so it's something for me to also, think about, right? What's happening. But voicing your opinion is so important in your power. And so we're going to be talking about that, and, also talking about what brand identity is and what it means, and why it's so important nowadays, to have that visibility, and then some ways to do it. What are those 5 pillars on being authentic, getting to know yourself, and how to put yourself out there, and develop that presence online and offline. Next slide, please. So it's really interesting, because when I was putting together this presentation, and I was thinking about the importance of our voices and our power, I came across several pieces of research that shows that women usually don't voice their opinion as often as men do. Maybe at home we do, or maybe with each other. Maybe we're really good at talking to each other. But when it comes to being in an administrative role, in a professional role, where you're in a meeting with men and women, and there are things that are important that are being discussed, women are more likely to stay silent or to say very little, because they're afraid that they may come across as dominating, or as know-it-alls, or that, their voice, their ideas are going to get rejected. So I think it's so important now that we're going through, these times where women are stepping up, they're becoming leaders in every sense of the word, to access the gifts, the internal gifts that we have, that experience that we've accumulated over many, many years, and to share it with the world, because that is our power. And many times we don't know that we have all those gifts inside of us, so we have to dig for them, and figure out what we are all about, and also practice voicing that power, voicing those gifts that we have, and that experience, and all those wonderful things that often as women we tend to bury, and to keep inside. There's also research that shows that when you get on a plane, you're more likely to sit next to a woman, because that she'll keep herself with her arms close, or she'll try to make herself small to let the other person expand and be better. So we're still learning how to be big, and how to expand, and how to show up how to show up in the world with our brightest selves. And hopefully this will get us thinking about how to do that. Next slide, please. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story, and how I I came across the power of the voice, and how that relates to me today. So 12 years ago, I was working a lot. I was working in advertising. I was working in education, burning myself out. And there was a point in time where I had horrible chronic fatigue and anxiety, to the point where I could no longer get up from the couch, or from bed. It was just so difficult for me to function in a day-to-day activity. Any activity that I had, it was just so difficult for me to do. And one of the things, many of the things that I realized, among others, was that I held a lot of old belief systems, including perfectionism, keeping myself small, not speaking up. What else? Just basically trying to fit myself in to whatever role, the smallest role I could find, and just be that supportive coordinator or manager or whatever assistant that that I could be to help others to shine. And while I was going through my healing and realizing that I was more than that, that I was meant to shine, and I was meant to bring out all those gifts and really expand who I was and be in positions, more higher positions of power. I continue to realize that we grow up with these old belief systems, these old patterns that tell us that, you know, we have to make ourselves small, or, you know, in order to fit in to what society wants us to fit in. So I definitely, and even my dreams of being an entrepreneur, you know, were put on hold because I always had to be supporting somebody else, or, you know, helping another project or another organization to shine. So while I was, you know, getting better and, you know, working on affirmations, and that's how I found Louise Hay and many other wonderful speakers and healers, realizing that we needed to change our mindsets and our thinking patterns. And that I didn't, you know, if I didn't tell my story and I didn't share those gifts with everybody else, I was gonna live in fear and just small all my life. And I had a pretty good life. I had a pretty good job and pretty good opportunities. It was just that my life was meant to be a lot bigger and a lot greater than that. And thankfully, as I started to understand this, I started to do things that terrified me, like teaching in front of hundreds of students at a time. And that was something that, you know, the first class that I had with 70 students was a shock to me. But I did it anyway, because I knew that if I didn't, I was going to keep hiding from myself and, you know, and not sharing who I was with the world. So thankfully I started to tell my story, to brand myself. And that's really why I love branding and marketing. And it's because we get to tell our stories. And nowadays, marketing and being authentic when you're marketing yourself, whether it's for a position or, you know, for an organization, for your club, for your hobbies, it doesn't matter. People need to know who we are, and we need to get hold of our story. So next slide, please. And, you know, it's really interesting because a lot of people think that brand identity is only pertaining to organizations, to businesses and big corporations. And yes, they do have a brand identity, but the reality is that you can brand anything. You can brand an idea, a company, or a person. And their symbols, their images that help us to build awareness, loyalty, and action, as you can see here on the slide, and in creating that identity. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be fake about it. It means that this is your story, and this is what you're going to be telling the world about yourself. So next slide, please. So the first pillar, now getting into the pillars of voicing your power, the first one is to be your authentic self. And you might be thinking, well, I already am who I am, you know, why? Well, that's great. That's great. And you don't have to do anything but be aware of who you are at the core. You can, you know, you don't have to think of yourself as a business or anything else but yourself and what you care about. If you care about the environment, if you care about healing, if you care, you know, about, you know, what the society, injustice, fixing injustice, if you care about being loving, kind, you know, if you love animals, something that really truly defines who you truly are at the core. And many times we don't know, and just asking the question ourselves as to, you know, who we are and who's our authentic self, that could be enough. So being aware of that, you know, who am I at the core, and, you know, dig deep for all those, you know, different gifts, because not only are we professionals, and not only can we be nurses or administrators or teachers, there are so many other dimensions to us that are available that we can exercise, and they're just laying dormant inside of us. But being ourselves allows us to share those. So next slide, please. And if you look at this, authenticity plays a big part of creating your identity, your brand identity. And so does your personality, so does, the things that you care about, like your vision, your commitment. Those are important. Also being unique. How do you differentiate yourself and what value do you bring to the table? But nowadays, what I've noticed in everything that people are doing and, what customers are asking for, what patients are asking for, students are asking for, is for us to be ourselves, to be authentic when we present ourselves. And that's a topic that is very, very hot right now, for lack of a better word. Next slide, please. So the next pillar, once we've asked ourselves, okay, what are we all about? At the core, what do we want? It's very helpful to list the skills that you have and things that you're really good at. And you'll be surprised how many times you forget that you're really good at certain things and you just don't remember them. But, you might be, killer in analytics or in math or in administration or in finance. Maybe you're a great, nurse or a doctor or a healer, or, you're great at writing, speaking, you're super creative. You can, build things, you can sew, you can knit, you can lead teams. It doesn't matter whether it's a professional or personal skill. All those gifts inside of us are available for us, and listing them. And there might be more than 4. Of course, you can have a long list of all the different skills that you have and how strong you are in those. It's very helpful. And it's also helpful to look at our weaknesses so that we can minimize those and turn them into strengths, hopefully. So again, being your authentic self, knowing that, getting to know yourself is super important. And then on the next slide, please, you can see that once you have this background and you learn all of these items, then you can develop your unique proposition. And what that means is that what are you about and what message are you sending out into the world? What's your mission? What do you care about? What's your vision for the future? Who's your audience? If you work at a hospital, who do you want, to know you? Who are you interested in sharing your information with, your message with? If you're a teacher or if you are an administrator, who's your audience? Think about them and how you can craft the message of who you are to share that information with them. It could be about a project, it could be about your business, it could be about, your performance. And something that women don't do, because again, we tend to kind of stay small, is we don't share what we think. We don't share what projects are important. If we have a business, we might shy away from promoting ourselves because we think it's self-serving. But the truth is that you're just sharing your image. You're sharing who you are with the world. And a little exercise that I like to do too is to come up with 3 words that I want associated with my name. That's something that you can do as well. And it kind of guides you into what kind of message you want people to have about you. For example, for me, I like to be known as trustworthy, creative, business-minded, honest, loyal, joyful, right? There's a lot of different words that, I want to be known for. But if I'm in a business setting, I want to create that, trust with my clients. I want to develop good relationships, relationship oriented is another one. So if you're really good at something, you know how to use software, you want to be the expert in that software and you want people to know that, then you can share that information with people. Next slide, please. So now, once you have that background and you start to learn more about yourself and the goals that you have, how you want to share that, then it's time to share all this information online and offline. Building your reputation nowadays doesn't just require for you to meet people in person or to talk to people, but also to create a digital signature online. Basically, what's your image looking like online, building your reputation. And there's different tools that I've listed here for you that are important. Social media is a big one. Andrea mentioned that if you're posting photos of yourself in a party or doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, it's very likely that your employer or somebody's gonna find it. So you have to create that reputation of whatever reputation you want to have. You have to build that image. It doesn't mean that it's fake. It just means that this is who you are. You want to present a trustworthy image and share that information with the world. LinkedIn is the best social media network or platform for professionals and for women to share this information. And when I first started using LinkedIn, only 13% of women were on it. And as opposed to, the rest of them were male. And that really struck me because I realized that women didn't utilize technology for their advantage, and they didn't like to share about themselves. So it's time for us to either create the LinkedIn account and, share yourself out there, or improve whatever it is that you have already and share that information, that message. What do you want people to find out about you? Because you can get many opportunities that way. Content creation is also really important. It's something that you can become an expert and share that information. And of course, having your own website, having your resume online is super important also. Next slide, please. Here's an example of a client who is a nurse. She's a nurse practitioner, and we've helped to get her online. And one of the first things we shared with her was that, she needs to be on LinkedIn and start sharing her information. We also had a photo shoot. We focused her image on what she wanted to convey to people. And we also created a website for her that was useful for her students and for her coworkers to find more information about who she was. And as you can see in the middle there on the website on the right-hand side, you see her little logo. She wanted to create that logo to depict how she felt about care and about herself and what she wanted to convey to her patients and to her students and to her coworkers. So that's something, you don't have to do it, but you can do it if you want to. And I think it's very powerful when people can find you online. Next slide, please. Here's another example of what you can do is to have your story online on your website or on LinkedIn. And for her, it was very simple, 2-3 paragraphs about her experience, who she is. And again, photographs and images are very important to share with your audience who you are and what kind of energy you want to share with them and what you want them to understand from you. Next slide, please. This is a client who is she's a therapist and she does have a business. Maribel doesn't have a business, but she's a nurse and, she wants to develop her image for her students. Dr. Navarrete here is a therapist and she has her own business. And so she came to us to help her to create that digital signature that showcase who she was, as you can see on her picture there, her story. And then in the middle pictures, you see her working with a client. And then on the right side, you can see some blogs that she wrote. So she shares with her patients and prospects her knowledge and what she does and what she does for her patients and how to heal and how to get them back to health. Next slide, please. And to finish up, this is my last point. Building an offline presence is also really important, as having an online reputation is good, but also having it offline in terms of developing your personal appearance, like I like to wear lots of purple, and all my students and a lot of my clients know that I'm the purple kind of person, and I love having that personality and that image. You can have, your colors, your type of haircut, the way you present yourself to the world is uniquely yours, and the world wants to see you that way. The other thing that's very important, something that women don't do, research shows that women are less likely to have networks. They shy away, whether, they're taking care of family and work, and they say networking at night, oh my God, that's just another thing I have to do. But men do it really well, and that's how they create those relationships with other people and opportunities. So I highly recommend, just being here during these presentations is amazing, and networking is a way to support each other and learn from each other. So it's super important. And then the other one is presentations, being available to talk about your expertise. Say yes, put yourself out there, tell people, hey, I'll do presentations on my expertise. I love to talk about it. Even if you do them in your office or with your own team, it gives you credibility as well. Next slide, please. This is just an example of some presentations that I've held in person, and I love to talk about marketing. I love to talk about entrepreneurship and branding. I think these are very important topics, and it doesn't matter if you're an organization, a business, or a professional who wants to be visible. And I think as women, we have the power to create better worlds when we show ourselves in different settings.
Hey, my friend, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, be sure to rate, review, and share your biggest takeaway. And if you're wanting more, you can access hundreds of recent speakers, book summaries, great articles, and more at no additional charge through your membership portal. You can also get involved in a Women Leaders Association mastermind group or a networking group near you. Or if you just need to access your membership portal, simply go to womenleaderspodcast.com to be connected. Because here at Women Leaders Association, we believe we go further, faster, and have more fun when we go together. That's all for today, my friends. Bye for now.